I'm going to go ahead and test fit the massive Yamaha 1.8 liter supercharged engine into this GP1200R today. Just test fitting it for clearance purposes, make sure it all fits, the mounts line up, and that I get everything fitting properly. There are sections in the inner hull that need to be removed and clearanced so that the gigantic engine can actually fit in here. As this particular ski, the GP1200R, obviously was never designed for that massive Yamaha engine. Getting ready to pop the engine into this thing here, and I want to show you where I notched this thing out. This center section here, that right there cleared the oil pump on the engine. I had footage of doing this work of notching that stuff out, but through the magic of GoPro, that footage has disappeared. And that's not me complaining, that's just a fact. This notch right here is to clear this on the engine. Okay. This section here is just to clear the oil pan. Now I do need to fiberglass that stuff up. That is part of the inner hull section, and I don't want water getting inside of there. I'm just going to make sure the engine fits in here before I do the fiberglass work on those cutout holes that I made, because I don't want to end up having to redo it because of some sort of a fitment issue. So I just got to make sure it all fits before I fiberglass it. Got to figure out how to shoehorn this thing into here. And I believe I have to take the intercooler off. I had to take one of the mounts off. This one off the back here. And I've still got a lot to figure out as far as this goes. So I've got the motor stuck down in there, kind of, sorta-ish. And the fitment is pretty tight, but all of the mounts are lining up. I have one issue though. Over on that side, you can't really see, but the intake, just the pipe between the throttle body and the intercooler is hitting on the inner part. So I'm gonna mark that out with a pen. I gotta pull the motor back out and cut that piece out and then see how it fits after that. Now I've got the engine removed, I'm gonna go ahead and cut out that section to make clearance. This is some thick, heavy stuff. I did film this before, but just to give you guys an idea. Center section. And this corner piece. I notched it very much on the just kind of overkill side. It's not something that I really want to mess with a lot, but I gotta pop the engine back in, test fit, and make sure that fits. And that is all to clear this pipe here. So somebody with an aftermarket setup probably doesn't even need to do that if your intercooler piping goes somewhere else. I popped the engine back in here and I realized that I need to cut some more out of my notch down there, because there's basically there's a bolt that catches. So I gotta pop the motor back out, notch it out some more. I'll definitely get a good measurement for you guys when I get it just right. One thing I want to point out, hopefully I won't forget this, but this water hose, it's getting smashed where it is. It's very hard to see, but I just have to kind of pick the end of the motor up and I can move it to this area here rather than where it is, and it should have enough room to not get smashed. This right here is what I'm hitting on, why I gotta notch that spot out more, this bolt. And I am gonna notch it out and I'm gonna measure it for you guys so you know what kind of spacing you need. Okay, I've cut another 1-inch section out, and I'm gonna go ahead and measure that. Alright, I had a clearance for this bolt here Obviously, the main objective was to clear for this pipe, but I cleared for that bolt, and also I made a little more clearance in the front for this. I don't know that it was entirely necessary. Let me show you the measurement. It's a bit awkward to do, but that is from the front bolt on the rear mount, and it is 4 1/8 to the rear cut right there, and 12 7/8 to this front cut. The way this engine is, it needs to kind of shoehorn into there, like nose heavy like this, just because the overall length doesn't allow it to just drop straight down. It just has to kind of go in like that. Oil filter removed, just because otherwise it's too wide. Exhaust manifold removed. Had the intercooler taken off, and the wiring harness all removed. And this works pretty well. My plan is, on the final install, to put it down in there, push it forward, install the midshaft, because the midshaft really hangs me up if I try to install the engine with the midshaft in there. So I'll push it forward, install the midshaft, pull the engine back, and then bolt it all up. At least that's the plan. Here we go. I got the engine installed, mocked up installed. It is all bolted down. I even have the coupler installed, but I do not have a drive. I don't have a drive. I don't have a jet pump or drive shaft in here, so the mid shaft is not tight, solid where it's gonna be. So I can't really, throw feeler gauges in there to measure it out and check our adjustment. But I can tell we're relatively within the ballpark, and I should be able to get that adjusted when the time comes. That's just the shims that pop underneath your engine mounts. I've kind of felt around to see if it is clear everywhere, and everywhere it looks good. I obviously can't really see the clearances, but I suppose I could just put the camera down there. All right, I'm going to put the camera down in the hole, or the hole, whatever you want to call it. And you guys can tell me how the clearances look down there. This is the bottom one. Okay, going over. This is the side. You can see the clearance. I can't see it, but you guys can. Let's come around to the front so you can see where I had to clear. That's where we had to clear for the oil pan. Or not the oil pan, the oil pump. I went ahead and switched this water hose. It did come through right there, but there wasn't enough space. It was getting pinched. So I zip tied it to this mount, and it has plenty of space. I just had to be careful not to pinch it when I put that together. Got a bit of an interesting situation going on outside. Not your typical type of time for working on this stuff. That's right, we have the white stuff, the snow, which we usually don't get very much of around here. And it doesn't really get you pumped up for this sort of thing when you got that on the ground. But we got to keep our eye on the future here and keep working away on this so that it will be done by the time some warmer weather rolls around.